Yes, somebody's calling you for the house.
All right, there we go. We are off to the races here. It is December 17th. We keep rolling through the year like lightning speed. But a lot of stuff happening. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was any of you guys that are on Kartra, you got to get ready. Kartra is rolling out next week. I don't know the exact day, but their new, I think they're calling it 7.0, will be rolling out and there'll be no turning back. So it's going to be a whole new interface. I was not real excited about that because it basically makes all the training I've ever done obsolete. So I'm going to have to redo a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, I've been through, for the last 3 months, I've been working with them on this update, getting it produced, all of that stuff. So I'm fairly familiar with it. It's not that big a deal. It's really just an interface change. There's no changes to the fundamental operations behind the scenes. It's just they've kind of moved the tabs around. And I must say, I really do think when I first saw it, I just about shit myself. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. It's it's like an Easter egg hunt. But then after I kind of calmed down, the nerves soothed out a little bit, I realized this is actually a good move. This makes it more intuitive. I know one of the things that's always drove me crazy is when you had to edit like a product, for instance, or a form or anything. You had to be forced through their wizard and go save and next, save and next, save and next till you got to what you wanted to change. So that's one of the things they've eliminated. They've eliminated all the wizards. And I'm like, right on to that, because now I can get right to what I want. I can just click the tab and be on the page that I want to edit. So, all in all, it is a move in the right direction. It just pains me to have to go back and redo all of the stuff I've done because I've done a lot of training on Kartra. So anyway, enough of my ranting and raving, but it is coming and it will take a little bit of getting used to. But don't freak out. It's not that big of a thing. It's it's they haven't changed any of the core fundamentals of what's under the hood. It's just they've kind of made it easier to access everything. So anyway, I don't know if any of you guys are interested in it, but I'm going to put it in the chat because I have a look under the hood video that they just did this week. And if any of you guys want to see that, I was going to actually show it. And then I thought, there's some people on here that might not be into Kartra, and I don't want to burn up 20 minutes with everybody's time going through something that only a few of you might need. But I put it in the chat. It's the link from event.webinarjam.com. It's the replay. And the first couple minutes is just intro, but the important part, it's about 20 minutes from about the fifth minute in to 25 minutes in. That's the part where they actually go through and show you page by page what the new thing looks like. And so that'll give you a good glimpse into what's coming and what to get ready for. And again, don't freak out. It's not that big a deal, but it is coming, and it's coming next week. So it's like you're going to wake up and think you landed in a new world. But anyway, that's a big change on the horizon. Let's see what else. I've got an
John, John,
announcement to make. I've got another thing I wanted to share with you guys. We talked about swipe files, and I wanted to share some resources on swipe files. But Richard, did you have something you wanted to say?
yeah, I have a quick question about Kartra.
Okay.
Does can does Kartra handle or work with APIs and webhooks?
Yes, yes, they do. We have two of our programs that are fully integrated through the API system. We've got Acquisition Air and SitePop, and those are fully integrated using Kartra's API control panel.
Well, I found a third party person that actually does AI better than Go High Level, but it works through APIs and webhook calls. Uh, and if Kartra can handle that, I might be able to get off Go High Level and come back to Kartra, where I can get a little bit more help with you if I'll use it. But I guess I'd have to actually get Go High or get the Kartra and see if it'll handle it in a way that we need to have it handled. But other than that, I'm assuming that Kartra, you can set up workflows inside Kartra. Will Kartra send out an SMS text and then make a phone call and then do all those kinds of things, those kind of basic workflow interactions?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with making phone calls out of it. I know it'll do the texting. It might be the same thing, but you might be able to hook up, the AI callers or something similar to do the calling, and it could send out the trigger for that.
Yeah, the third party does do the trick. Because what I've developed is basically a thing where I can go into the business owners and say, let me put our AI super pixel. I'm stealing that term directly. Since how you guys are all using pre-targeting on me, I'm going to steal yours. And basically, with a super pixel on there, I've connected up everything else so that from then on out, all the business owner has to do is, oh yeah, answer the damn phone, and it feeds them pre-qualified, ready to go people. But using Go High Level, seeing how I'm intentionally using fewer and fewer and fewer of their assets because it's just such a hellscape over there. If Kartra would actually do it with a webhook and an API, I might be willing to see if I could get it to work in Kartra rather than working with Go High Level. So
Yeah, I know, like, I'm not a programmer. I'm fully admitting of that. I'm definitely not a programmer. But so far, the programmers, like the programming team that Chris manages for me for SitePop, they were able to fully integrate into Kartra, no problem. I don't know how they did it, but I know there's an API page and I can see all of the stuff that they put in there to do it. But as far as doing it myself, I'm like, oh, hell no, that's for a programmer.
yeah,
And
well, that's been sort of the problem is me having to figure out. I mean, it's now up to 5 AI platforms and 10 software platforms I've had to integrate, but it works. And on the buyer side, it literally is an easy button. They just sign up and the phone rings. So
and then the acquisition error, we had Daniel, Daniel manages that team. They were able to do the same thing. So not only is it doable, it's replicatable because we've done it twice. Now, my team with Quantum, my development team with Quantum, they were not familiar at all with Kartra, nor did they want to be. So they were unwilling to do that work for me, and I didn't really want to get a third programmer involved. So we just did the integration 2 days ago, and it went smooth as glass using Zapier. We created the zaps. So when a tag is placed in Kartra, that's what triggers the zap to create the account in Quantum and give them access to the level that I'm giving them access to. And then on the same note, I have automations inside of Kartra. So if someone cancels or their credit card expires and they don't renew it or whatever, and their account goes dormant, it automatically removes the tag that triggered their account to be created, and it adds a past quantum customer tag. Now, that past quantum customer tag triggers a zap to go over and delete and remove their account from the quantum platform. So within, a few very easy point and click things, I was able to do all of that. So, and it's the same. It's like when you have an automation, let's say you want to follow up with I think you were calling it a workflow. In Kartra, they call it automations. You can create an automation that any trigger will trigger something else to happen. Like, for instance, if an order is placed, if a form is filled out, if a page is visited, if somebody, opts in for something, that can trigger an automation that fires an email either immediately or at a given point. And then it can also have a whole sequence of things that happen after that. And again, I think you were referring to that as a workflow. They
Well,
just
with workflows, what you can do is you can like send out an SMS, text it, and if they don't respond back, it'll wait an hour. You can tell it to wait an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then they'll send it back out again, and
yeah,
it'll wait until they respond and do those sort of things. But they're typically like little boxes that are just stacked on top of each other. Is how they graphically represent it and go high level. I don't know how they
yeah.
represent it in Kartra, but
It's the same. You can move them around, you can connect them, disconnect them, reconnect them. And you can also have those splits. In an automation in Kartra, you can have an A/B split. Like if they do open the mail, then take them down this path. If they don't open the mail, take them down this other path. You can also create see, in Kartra, you have two things for your workflows. You have automation sequences, which is a sequence of events to happen. And then you also have what's called advanced automations that can have certain triggers that trigger actions. Like, let's say someone's in a sequence. Let's say they opt in and they're going through your marketing funnel, and your marketing funnel gives them a presentation, makes them an offer, follows up, gives them another offer, and then finally gives them a discount offer if they haven't purchased yet. Well, what if the person purchases and then they see, oh, you're giving them a discount? They're going to want a refund, right? You're going to piss some people off. I've done it. I know. So in Kartra, you can set up an advanced automation that says, if the person purchases, kill the sequence, add them to another sequence like a product fulfillment sequence. So they don't keep getting your promotions. You don't want to keep hammering them over the head if they've already purchased. And you certainly don't want to give them a better deal after they've purchased. or let them know that there's a better deal to be had. It doesn't do well for your customer service. So it's really cool. I mean, Kartra is a very, very robust program. Now, if it goes up and you're matching apples to apples, I think Go High Level has a lot more fancy little bells and whistles shit. Not stuff that's necessary. Most of the stuff that they have in there that's the fancy bells and whistles has a really high appeal to people that are jumping in, being told they can be a marketing agency. They give you all this fancy little shit that you can sell to all these little companies that are going to be an absolute pain in your ass. They're teaching you how to live your absolute worst nightmare dealing with those people. So, in that aspect, yeah, they got a lot of fancy crap for you to sell to people you probably shouldn't sell it to.
yeah, what they've basically created is an entire platform full of, as Alex Hermogi calls them, the ladies in red. All little distractions that you go down these rabbit holes that'll keep you busy. I've talked, I've talked to people that do their support. I've been doing support for a year and a half, and he says, I really don't know what I'm doing here half the time. I have to go to the thank you. I mean, if it's that bad, I mean, come on, people. So yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, I would rather provide high value services to people that need it, not sell them a bunch of crap they don't need. I'm not real big on the bells and whistles, but that said, I did something. It was funny. I sent an email to Brady and Connie just yesterday. And I said, this is absolute 100% proof that either I have more time on my hands than I know what to do with, or I've lost my mind. And I saw this somewhere and I thought it was cool, and it's a total gimmick. It's just an absolute gimmick. But I thought that looks really cool. I need to do that for my thank you pages. And I was in the process of redoing my thank you pages anyway, because a lot of people had told me, "Hey, you still have that old Zoom offer on all your thank you pages." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I got to get rid of that." So as I was going through and updating all of my thank you pages, getting rid of that and adding the new Meetin button on there so they can get Meetin instead of Zoom. And by the way, I just did updated all the thank you pages this week, and I've already got affiliate commissions from people signing up for Meetin. So whenever someone opts in to your thank you page or opts into your forms or whatever, you always have a thank you page. That thank you page is an opportunity for you to make money, even if it's not your stuff. So I'll show you. I've got a absolutely perfect example of this. Let me pull it up here.
John, what's meeting?
Meetin is the replacement for Zoom. It's really a cool program. I have an account. Uh, I haven't started using it yet, but I probably will pretty soon. One of the things it does a lot of things. It does a lot of things that Zoom doesn't do. One of them is you can brand the window. Like we're here in a box and it looks like Hollywood Squares. In Meetin, you can actually have a custom header and footer with your logo, and you can have buttons on there. You can have call to action buttons in the header. So like while we're having our meeting, I could, point out, hey, there's a button at the top to opt in for my new free book. And people could just click on it. They don't have to figure out where the chat is. They don't have to, go open the chat and click a link. It's just right there, right in their face the whole
Hey,
time.
hey, John, quick question for you on quantum AI before you go into your next thing, because I'm in the car.
Okay, yeah.
I know you took care of Joe Wilson's issues logging in,
Yes.
but I have a question. If someone purchases the quantum suite, what's the protection from them? And I'm thinking in terms of companies. What's the protection from them giving everybody in the company their login, and one company pays $97 for their whole entire company?
We honestly don't really have anything in place for that other than we've throttled the bandwidth of how much they can use it.
Okay, all
Like
right,
if,
because
if you've got 10 people that are all creating images, it's going to put a halt to you and say, hey, slow down, come back tomorrow and create more images.
okay, I was just curious about that because yeah, there's going to be a lot of people buying, and they're in the same organization,
Yeah.
and I just that's just one of the questions in the back of my mind. Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, I've actually already had that happen. And, a couple of people have said, hey, I got locked out of the image maker. And I said, how many people were using it? They said, well, 3. And I'm like, well, yeah, there's limits to how much you can use on a particular account. So they actually wound up buying 3 of them. So, because
Yeah,
they wanted to be able to use it at a higher level.
I hate to think of the unscrupulous people, but they're out there. So I was just
Oh,
curious.
yeah, yeah. And, it's okay. I mean, I know this is one of the things I've talked about for a long time is if you allow someone else to feel like they've taken advantage of you, many times they'll do business with you. It could be a door opener.
Oh, okay.
And you get to create that relationship as you go, but if they don't feel like they can get, an advantage or something, they might not start doing business with you. They might go elsewhere.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious. Thanks.
So, I mean, I've done that actually with people that promoted me. Like when I was promoted originally by Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher, that's how Richard found me. And they offered to, I did some paid consulting with them, and on the backside, they offered to allow me to do a training course that they would promote. And they called it Rank Mogul. I did the whole thing. It was all my IP. I did the videos, the whole enchilada. They just promoted it. Well, they gave me 30%. They took 70% for promoting it. And so many people at the time told me, "You're out of your mind. They're ripping you off." And I said, "It's okay. It's like free money to me." And I got to tell you, taking that 30% was a fraction. I mean, a tiny fraction of the money I made out of them doing it.
Well, that's a different perspective. So thank you for that. Okay, I won't
Yeah.
worry about that then.
So when you have somebody, let them take advantage of you if it's going to long-term advantage you. Right?
Got it.
Like say the person there at that company, they buy it and they give it to 10 of their friends. And, initially they thought, "Oh yeah, I'm getting away with this." But then, they get pigeonholed into the amount they can use, and then they wind up buying more. It's perfectly fine. Whereas if I came out of the gate and I said, "Hey, this is only for one per, and you got to buy a license for everyone in the company," guess what? They probably wouldn't have bought it to begin with. Right? So I let them take advantage of me. And who wins in the end? Me. So
Sounds good.
get rid of the scarcity mindset.
Yep.
If I could give you guys a gift, that's the gift. Get rid of the scarcity mindset. It's not helping you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking from the standpoint of, the just people, well, like you said, taking advantage of a good thing, but you're saying flip that,
Yeah.
and don't worry about it because
I mean, I often refer to business. You know how I refer to business as it's the same as dating, right?
right.
Well, if you're in a room full of women, what's better than just laying down on the floor and say, "Have your way with me." Right? It
That's
might not
a visual.
it might not seem right, but you're going to get what you want in the end.
Works every time.
It's the easy button.
Well, that's a horse of a different color, they say. Never thought of it that way.
There's not very many people that think like I do.
So if I go to the mall and walk in the nail salon and just lay on the floor,
there you go.
Oh God. Well, God bless you. Thank you. I gotta go. But oh, and one other quick question. I'm sorry, everybody. I have a client, Ali, and her email. We can't figure out how to get her email set up, so I'm gonna send you an email on that.
Okay.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye, ladies.
While you're on quantum, John, when are you going to have the stuff? Because we're going to need some time to get our bearings and stuff. If all your little minions here on the call are going to run out and start selling quantum on Black Friday, we need to have some time to prepare ourselves. When's that going to be ready for us to review and do all that stuff?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because that leads me right into the next thing I was going to talk about. Brady has just sent me over some stuff that he created with Benson. I told him yesterday, I said, my big priority is to have you master Benson. And Benson is the AI copywriter. And I want it mastered for two reasons. I want to see if it actually produces better copy than what I can produce via prompt or tools in Quantum for actual like sales letter. Like the tools I've created in Quantum are phenomenal for what they do, but I have not yet created the master tools. I'm still working on the master tools to like create a complete VSL, create a complete presentation, all of that stuff. So, and Benson claims that it has that licked. So I have an affiliate link if any of you guys want it. Let me see. Let me put it in the chat here. Put this in. Okay, so that is an affiliate link to Benson. And Benson, what Benson is, it's John Benson. He's a master copywriter. He's not a guy that you may have heard of because he's kind of a behind the scenes guy. But he has done over $1 billion worth of sales copy. When I say that, like his sales copy has sold over $1 billion worth of product. He kind of knows what he's doing. So he has tagged some words, like Richard was talking about. Yeah, I'm going to borrow that. And one of the ones he has tagged is promptless AI. Like you all know by now, the key to getting good content out of AI is in the prompts. So what he's done, and actually what I've done also, is made the AI promptless. All of the tools in Quantum are promptless. You don't have to write a prompt. All you have to do is just fill in the blanks, fill in some information, and then the tool creates the prompt for you on the back end. So it's he uses two terms he calls pre-prompting, which I've talked about from the beginning of training the AI by leading it through a series of questions so it knows what you want to do. That he's referring to as pre-prompting. And then he's referring to promptless, of you just put in a single keyword and it will write a whole sales copy page for you, which I haven't seen yet. Brady says he also uses seamless AI as another term. So anyway, when we got it, when Brady was out here visiting me last week, we went ahead and we purchased the Benson so we could get inside. And after listening to the sales letter makes it seem pretty simple. We got in and there's a whole lot to it. It's like a university, which I know you guys know how I feel about going to school. So I dropped that one on Brady and I said, let's send you to school. But anyway, I'm kind of I'm going to let him play around with it for a week or two before I kind of say, okay, show me what you got. But he just sent over a set of emails that he created out of Benson this morning. I haven't reviewed them yet, but that's what I was hoping to get, is to have Benson write the affiliate letters for you guys to send out. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put those into Kartra and actually email them to you with your links in them. So you won't have to try and log in. You won't have to try and find your links. They will actually be in the email I send to you. So you literally copy it, paste it. It's got your links in it, and away you go. So I'm going to make it super simple. And then if you want to change the copy, that's fine. That's totally up to you. You could just pluck your links out and, put your own letter together and send it out. No problem. But that's what we're working on. So I'm hoping to get that out like next week, because I know we're getting close to running into November now, and that's our Black Friday target. But other things too, like swipe files. One of the things that Benson works on is it works on swipe files. Like it wants to create a project and a framework around something that you like. So if you give it a sales page, like from Perry Belcher, for instance, if you really like his style and you say, I want my copy in this format, you can give it the example text from one of Perry's sales letters and it will create a framework around that. So, and this is something I talked about this years ago. It's one of those things that I knew and forgot. And it's very important. And I'm telling you guys, I've forgotten more than I know. So it's all in there. If you just jiggle the head, it'll pop out. But it's a site called swipedai.com. And it's SWIPED.co, not .com, .co. And what that is, it's a repository of the most famous sales letters throughout history. And if you find something, you can search like for your niche and you can see what copy worked really well in the real world. And I've always said what works in the real world can be replicated and automated online. So that's a place where you can go to find out, what copy worked. They don't put it in there if it was crap copy. If it was a campaign that was mediocre, you're not going to find it in there. You're only going to find top-notch stuff in that repository. Another one is a Rich Sheffron in the Steal Our Winners. That is a really, really good resource. And I'm going to put that one in the chat too. He has a deal that's called SOS, Steal, or SO, is it SOS? SOW.
SOW.
Yeah, let me put SOW. I don't know where I got SOS. I don't even know if that's a real thing. No, SOS is not a real thing. It's SOW. Just make sure that link works. Yeah.
John,
That,
with what you were saying earlier, I couldn't resist. I went and got Benson, and what the work is filling out what he calls a blueprint, which is
yeah.
all the information you want about a specific offer. And so it has all the data it needs to work. And then you go over to the frameworks, and he's up everything that's in that swipe style, I'm sure, is already built into Benson, because he's taken the top 100 living and the top 100 dead sales copywriters, and it's been trained on all of it, plus all of his stuff. So, I mean, it knows all of that things. And when you start seeing how you can do this to little tiny tweaks here and there, it is breathtaking what can come out of there. I mean, it's yeah. Talk to Brady. Yeah. I'm sure he's going to blow your mind once you do it, because once you've got the matter of fact, one of the things, Brady, if you're listening, would you please send us what you the blueprint you set up for quantum, because then what we can go in and do, and we can change little things just by changing out who's the target audience. It'll change the entire everything, and it can build out VSLs. It'll write lead magnets. You can write books with it. I mean, you can really. There's lots of red dresses in there, but for as far as doing the stuff for a funnel, building your initial sales copy, building your email list, building your landing page, building your sales page, your VSL, and it'll do all that stuff with world-class copywriter stuff, and you can tweak it and you can edit it. I mean, it's mind-blowing what it'll do. So if we have that blueprint for the quantum thing, all we then have to do is go in there and change our target audience, and it'll rewrite the whole program that you've got, only changing the angle just slightly and changing the language slightly. And all I have to do is use those emails for the new market. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I just don't know how user friendly it might be for a lot of people. So, but anyway, back to the Steal Our Winners thing. That is Rich Sheffron is behind that. That's a name you may have heard or maybe not, but he was like one of the original OG guys in the internet marketing space. He's the one that kind of took Frank Kern under his wing. And if you go back, you can probably find in YouTube somewhere Frank Kern's first interview with Rich Sheffron. And it's hilarious. Frank was like not comfortable in his own skin back in those days. And he wore a suit that made him look like an orphan and went to Goodwill and bought clothes that didn't fit. It's really a funny interview, I think, anyway. But Rich is kind of the one that brought him under his wing and said, look, if you want to be an expert, you go to the top expert you can find and interview them. And that way you're guilty by association. You're guilty of success by association. And that's where Frank learned that. And Frank has used that to bring a lot of people in and make them successful. Perry Belcher calls that the Oprah factor. You know, if you can be an absolute nobody, and if you get on the Oprah show, you're a national monument the next day. Everyone knows your name. Everyone looks up to you. Everyone wants to work with you. And he calls it the Oprah factor. So that's kind of what that is. And I think that got lost in translation with a lot of these podcasts. You know, everybody's doing their podcast and they're just looking for anybody to interview. And that's not the point. You know, becoming a podcaster, you're supposed to be going out to like the top people and being guilty of success by association, not just any warm body you can get a hold of. So that's just like, it's not the way to go. Like I did that. I did a radio show, an online radio show many years ago. Craig was promoting it. And, you know, a lot of people bought into it, but I didn't see anybody use it the way I did. I scheduled with the top internet marketers to bring them onto my show. And in turn, I used that to get JV deals with them. I got them to promote my products out to their audiences. And I used that as a leverage stick to get them to say yes, because I had reached out and offered them to be on my radio show for free. So it didn't matter that no one listened to it. It was the it was the whole point. You know, it's not about the gift, it's about the giving. So the gift was worthless, but the idea of the giving got me what I needed. It got me the opportunity to have them promote me. So it worked really well, but I didn't see anyone else do that. All they did was they spent a year, you know, chasing their tail, setting up radio shows with anybody they could get a hold of. If I didn't have somebody on that particular week, guess what? The show was dark because I wasn't going to spend my time unless I could leverage it. You know, if I didn't have somebody on that was worth putting on, I'm just going to do something else. So I didn't do 52 shows like I purchased. I did probably about 20. So I had a lot of dark weeks. I had more dark weeks than light weeks, but those light weeks were very highly engineered and they got me a lot. I totally got my money's worth out of that. Would I continue for a second year? Hell no. Because that's like a commitment. You know, that's a commitment to doing something that I had already accomplished. It's like game over, move on. I got what I needed out of it.
What was your carrot to them? Why would they want to be on your radio show if nobody was listening?
Pure ego. 100% pure ego.
Did you have name recognition at that point?
I did. That was that also, but just most likely just pure ego. And the cool thing is it gives them a little placard to put on their website, which, you know, most of those guys don't need, but they get bragging rights. They can go out and here's the thing, they can post to their social media because they know they're going to promote my product. So they go out and they promote to their social media of, hey, I'm going to be on John Limbacher's Dominator Radio. Come out and listen. I'm going to be promoting his product next week. So it gets me that soft introduction to their audience. It's beautiful by design. Nobody uses it. Nobody engineers their campaigns like that. So, but really the biggest thing, like I didn't go on and say, oh, you know, I've got thousands of people listening to this. What I told them is, I told them honestly, I said, there's very few, if any, live listeners. What we're doing is we're laying this down to go into an archive so everyone in the future can get access to you. They can go in, they can look at my directory and they can see, you for your specialty, and then they can get introduced to you through that radio interview. So that's how I positioned it. Again, total transparency and truth, and it worked. If I'd have gone to them and they made the decision solely on my viewer audience, I'd have been shit out of luck. I wouldn't have had a chance. But it's
John,
all in the packaging and the positioning, and that is marketing. It's how you package and position your product, your offer, your value. And that is 100% pure unadulterated marketing right there. You don't have to have the best product. You have to have a better angle than the next guy. That's it. So Henry, go ahead.
please, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Just to be sure that I'm on the right track and doing things right, because I wanted to start focusing on the culture and the upcoming preparation that you spoke about for the end of November, I guess, Black Friday and stuff. Uh, should I do you mind, in a sense, tell us, or at least me, the charting or the route that I should take into that preparation? Should I wait until the new Contra is released for
Well,
me to
I
start
I
learning
just
more
I
about it?
just put a link in the chat for the webinar that they just did on the new version. I would take a look at that, and it's probably the important part is from probably 5 minutes to 25 minutes into that webinar is what you want to see. After that, it's just Q&A. So there's no need for you to listen through the Q&A.
Let me ask you this question. Somebody had put a question as well. I think they went to try to log in to that particular link, and it basically tells them that they have to submit their credentials and stuff like that. Should we use the same credentials that initially on your affiliate as
Oh,
our email and stuff? Or
it might be because that's the link they gave me, so it might be attached to my identity in their system. What I can do, I will record the video and put it up. I'll send out a recording to you guys. And I'll
Okay.
just clip it. I'll just clip out, the first 5 minutes and the last hour of it. So you just have that 20 minutes that you need.
That would be great. So as far as preparing for the upcoming launch, it's after watching this, I should have a clear picture that all your what they called, the snapshots type of a thing's gonna be in there and ready to go.
Yeah, all of that stuff should still work. It's just really it's just the interface that they're changing. It's just the tabs where things live. That's really all that's changing. There's nothing changing fundamentally about the back end of the program. It's just the user interface.
Okay, no problem. I'm dedicating this weekend, just to learn.
Yeah, but if you are just ready to jump into Kartra, I would probably not go in and learn it right now. I would wait until they roll out the new interface. Like even if you just bought it like within the last week or something, just put the brakes on, wait till they get the new one, because there's no reason for you to learn something that's going to change in a week.
Well, that's the reason why I was asking. I was wondering.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Is
But
there going to be a price change?
they already changed the prices around. They did that like 6 months ago or so. And they've done a lot of changes. The company's gone through a lot of revisions. They got rid of most of the people. Most of the people that were involved are no longer involved, including their CEO. They got rid of the CEO. They got rid of a lot of the people behind the scenes. And I don't know if that's 100% for the better. Some of the things certainly seem like they're not better, like their affiliate program, for instance. They pulled, and I don't know, I have no idea the reasoning. I can't get them have a conversation about this. But they were using their own affiliate program, which was a 2-layer system, and they pulled it to go to a third-party affiliate, not for all of us, not for the program itself, but for their affiliate program for Kartra itself. And I'm thinking, why in the world would you do that? And when I got to the one that they went to, it's not any better. I see no value in what they did there. Zero. There's just, to me, there's just no sense whatsoever in it, unless the only thing I can think, and this is a real thing in corporate America, which Kartra's getting big, so they're moving into the corporate America status. When in corporate America, sometimes somebody's brother or cousin or uncle has a company and they will shift vendors. And that's what just happened here. They changed their affiliate provider for God only knows why. That's the only thing I can come up with, is somebody knew somebody somewhere. But it's certainly not for the benefit of anything. And in fact, it's a downgrade as far as I can see, because they had a 2-tier system where, like, for instance, I would give someone my JV link, they sign up as an affiliate, and then I get a 2nd-tier commission off of all of their sales. They don't have that anymore. So that doesn't incentivize me to go and bring in some big player, because all that big player, again, this is a scarcity mindset, which I shouldn't throw out there. But now all of a sudden I've got a big player that's in my space that's going to be chewing up my opportunities to get affiliate commissions versus us sharing them. So it's like absolutely asinine, stupid, in my opinion, to have done that. That also said, they pulled the affiliate program off of their low tier offering. So if you come in at the low tier in Kartra, it does not include the affiliate program for your products, which I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense. And I voiced my opinion strongly in both their meeting of their board of advisors, and also in to the dev team when they were doing the rollout on the 7.0 and the Q&A. I voiced my opinion many times on the subject of, you guys are really blowing it here by doing this. I said, there's no reason for you to do this other than pure greed. And I said, I'll give you a perfect example. This is what ClickFunnels did. When you bought into ClickFunnels, it did not have email ability, and it did not have an affiliate program with it. So you could buy into the ClickFunnels for whatever it was, the $100 or $150 a month, and basically have a program that you couldn't send email and you couldn't do an affiliate program with. By the time you added the 2 key pieces that you needed, you were at $500 a month. So as soon as Go High Level came out and made their big splash into the arena, guess what all the ClickFunnels users did? They dropped it like a hot potato. And ClickFunnels is hurting right now. They're offering 100% sales commissions to bring people in, and it's not working. So, I mean, that proves you cannot polish a turd. They plain and simple fucked up, and they stuck to their guns. It's still that way today. And I pointed that out. I said, Kartra, you guys are fucking up. I've given you a pure example. I said, your biggest competition is eating ClickFunnels lunch, and they have since day one. And you're just providing an opportunity to eat your lunch too. Why would you do that? And again, they had no reasoning behind it. So, it's some new corporate guy that took someone else's job and is pumping their chest like, I know better than all of you. And, I don't know if they'll come to their senses eventually and flip that back, but I will continue to voice my opinion on it. And because, I know a lot of smaller players, they they can afford to bite off the $120 a month or the $100 a month for Kartra. But to roll up to the second level right out of the gate is a bigger bite. It's like $200 a month instead of $100 a month. So, but even all of that said, to run a business for $200 a month in overhead is still pretty ridiculous to even balk at. But I know there's a lot of people that really are just getting started out. They don't have a lot of money, and it becomes a problem. So, but I also, that's why I encourage everybody, stop buying shit until you're actually ready. Don't go just buy a bunch of programs before you're ready to use them. Get your game plan together, do your research, do your analysis, figure out a profitable market, and then, and only then, build something to sell to them. Build the thing. Don't build something and hope that they come. That doesn't work. But build something like Quantum. Would I have built Quantum if there wasn't a massive market for it? The reason I built Quantum is so many people go through the ACT program and they want success, they need success, but they don't know how to make a big idea to save their life. They don't know how to do the market research. And I can tell them till I'm blue in the face and they still don't know how to do it, and they won't do it. So I'm like, hey, here's a set of tools that'll do it for you. And I've sold over 100 units of it without ever even promoting it. I haven't even brought it out yet. Like, it's only gone to this list and a couple other people I've talked to, and it's already sold over 100 units. So can you imagine what's going to happen Black Friday when everybody starts promoting it? I'll probably be up to 1,000 units. And if I can sell 1,000 units of something, all I have to do is 10 times that effort, and now I'm at 10,000. 10,000 units at $47 a month is almost $500,000 a month if my math is on. And guess what? I'll give half of it away to the affiliates. Do I care? Simple answer, I do not. The more I give away, the more I get. So, do I want you guys to be successful? Do I want to give you a shitload of money? I do. The more I give you, the more I get. So I have a vested interest in helping you sell Quantum. So that's why Brady's doing what he's doing with Benson. We're getting it ready. We're going to bring it out to you. So, and this leads me to the next thing. Mr. Woodrow on here. Woody wanted me to show his site, and it kind of comes back to what I was just saying, Woody. You continuously seem to be in production mode, in creation mode, and I'm not sure you've done your analysis yet. I'm going to share my screen here. Let me see.
Well, these are the cards I've been dealt. This is a business that we're plussing.
All right. So let's go take a look. So this is Woody's site. The first problem I see here is I don't know who it's for. There's no clear, like, who is this for? It's step into a world of authentic vintage music. So I'm assuming it's about vintage music, but to what end?
Yeah, this is for these song pluggers in the music industry. guys that score movies and sell soundtracks to movies, stuff like that.
Okay, so you need a call out to that. You need a call out right here at the top that, if you're a so and so in need of a such and such, you're in the right place. So they know they're at home. Like when I get here, I don't see that, so I don't know who it's for. I see licensed timeless melodies. I have no idea who that is for. So the first thing I did some research for you. I went to Google. I put in authentic vintage music just to see what came up. Right out of the gate, I got eBay. I got a whole shitload of free YouTube stuff here. Like half a page of YouTube on vintage music. I got the first actual real result is Wolfgang's Vault. And I figured, all right, let's take a look at good old Wolfgang and see what he's all about. So let's see, where is Wolfgang? Let me go back and hit up Wolfgang. Let's take a look at him. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing looks like it came out of the 1960s before they even knew how to build a website. And this is old vintage like rock and roll stuff that clearly has an audience. Like if you can get $157 for a Rolling Stones poster, you obviously got something going on here. You got Grateful Dead, Elvis, Pink Floyd. They're selling memorabilia, not
Right.
necessarily music, although, obviously it's about music. But then I figured, all right, let's take Wolfgang in here and see what's under the hood. He's got 64,000 keywords. So this site has been around for a very long time. He's got 140,000 backlinks. This is who you're competing against. Do you think you have a chance?
I'm selling music. He's selling posters.
So what would your ideal customer search for if they went to Google?
Um,
What's he going to look to find you? What are you offering for him?
John, I would probably Google, vintage music licensing for media and see what comes up. I know Wolfgang. I mean, it's a giant head shop, basically. Um,
So we got Artist IO, royalty-free music, commercial use. These are paid advertisers. Again, you got YouTube here. Soundstripe is the first one. And this is basically like a directory of music licensing companies. So I don't want to take that. Access to mainstream music, get access to hundreds of thousands of. So I'm not sure. Do you know who your competitor would be? Who are we looking for here?
that's a great question.
See, Woody, these are questions you ask before you hire a web developer to develop a website for you.
Well, basically, John, I had to get all the music on. I now have 160 songs that I can hustle. I needed that. Who the audience is, you usually want that first. Like Tim Gillette went over it with me. Um, you build it for them. But I got the songs. So,
Well, I
uh,
get I get that you've got the songs, Woody, but you have to make a business work, you have to have something to sell and someone to sell it to. And not have competitors in the way that you're not going to be able to beat. And that's
You know what, John? Here's a site. Just go to this one. It's Peter Raleigh Music Licensing. This is the guy that it would, that's the way I would want to be.
okay.
Yeah, Raleigh Music.
Okay, so this one here.
Yeah.
Uh, our mission. Okay, so these guys, it looks like they're licensing out people's music to get them an income.
And that's me. That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm up to.
So do you think you can compete with them, or should you rather maybe take your songs to them and let them do the service for you?
I will talk to Peter, but you know, he said do exactly what I just did, which is digitize all the music. But I would rather develop the brand a little bit. If you go to the site, when you know, ultimately,
Yeah,
you'll see the selection of stuff that we have. It's pretty awesome.
he's got 1,100 keywords, most of which are not on the first page, so are pretty irrelevant. But the stuff that is on the first page is like just gobbledygook. Little May Walter, not even spelled correctly. Baby Goth, Pressure, Wait a Minute, Jay Galore, Raleigh Music, which is their name. So the other thing that that you might want to do is go to Perplexity. I went over here and I said, are there any profitable markets for vintage music? And is it likely that people would pay for it online given all the free resources out there? That was the question I asked Perplexity. And it came back with everything but the vintage music. It was the instruments, the collectibles, the memorabilia. That's where your profit lives in this market, not in selling licensed. And then I said, okay, I am referring to vintage songs from unknown artists and people actually paying for that online or licensing it. Now it updated this. And, it gives you all the challenges, the platforms, all of that. In conclusion, there is some potential for profiting from vintage music by unknown artists online. It's likely to be a very niche market with limited demand. Success would be largely dependent on finding the right audience and effectively marketing the unique value of these obscure vintage tracks.
John, would it be beneficial to ask Perplexity, I have vintage music, I own vintage music, what would be the most profitable way to sell it? Like, is
Yeah.
that a kind of question? Because, like, when you're talking about when you show a SEMrush, and maybe this is true for Woody also, my brain doesn't connect it like yours, John. Like, when you're sharing that information, I don't get the connection. So maybe he doesn't either. But
Yeah.
I'm more of a direct line type of person. Like, the simplest, like you like to keep it simple and clear. I really need it simple and clear. Yeah,
Well,
I need to have it
that's what I
linked.
did. That's what I did here. I got that information.
Yeah,
And I said,
this is
okay,
much
well,
better. The perplexity part, I'm getting where you're going. I'm getting
yeah.
that.
So, doing that market research before you go build out a warehouse to sell something and then find out there's nobody to sell it to, or there's other people right next door that are Goliaths selling the same thing.
Well, I sold something last year for a movie, and we weren't even trying. So,
Okay.
the Peter Raleigh, who I've been in touch with, said, look, you got money here. I'm getting checks, but they're not enough. I'm not reaching the right people.
Yeah.
So these people that scored for movies or advertisements, we made 7 grand off a belt commercial for one of our songs. So they're
Well,
out.
I get that. I'm not familiar with them, so I can't really give you the answer of like what rock to turn over, but this is your machine right here to turn the rocks over. You want to get in here and play with this and figure out who is your buyer, and then figure out, okay, how do I build a buyer profile out of this and figure out what do they really need? What are, what's their deal? And that, we've got Quantum. Inside Quantum here, you can build a buyer profile. So if we went in here and we said the target market is vintage music licensing. Let's see. Okay, so vintage music licensing, and your product is unknown artists.
We also have known artists. I mean, we have Elvis, we have Jimmy Dean, we have Tiny Tim,
Do you have the ability to license their stuff out, or is that going to be a copyright issue?
Elvis would be a copyright issue, but I'd rather have him up there and get yelled at by Warner Brothers than not use it at all.
All right. Well, when you go to a licensing agent, he's not going to license you something that you don't have the ability. So let's just use unknown artist vintage tracks, because that's the reality of what you're going to be able to talk to a licensing agent about. Because that's the first thing they're going to ask you. If you give them a known artist, they're going to say, what gives you the right to license this to me?
Well, some we do and some we don't.
Okay. So this basically gives you the buyer profile here. So it talks about Steve, a passionate and ambitious and independent filmmaker based in Austin, Texas, with nostalgia for the golden age of music. He seeks unique sounds to differentiate his products. Known for his creative vision, but limited by budget constraints, Steve wants his works to stand out in an oversaturated market. So this is your buyer. His core problem is finding affordable, high quality music that fits the vintage aesthetic of his films. Here's his frustrations. This is the stuff that needs to go onto your website so you can talk to this guy.
Absolutely. I got that.
So when I look at your website, I see nothing relating to selling to this guy on that website.
I got it.
So this is why it's so important to do this research before you start paying for someone to build a website. Otherwise, you're going to pay to have them do it again and again and again until you do this. It's like I can take you to the gym, but I can't do the push-ups for you.
Well, I wish you'd learn how, John, for great.
Well, actually, I did. Quantum does the push-ups for you. I just did them right here before your very eyes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. But the thing is, and I have all this. What I want you to do is look at the site and see how it's running. I mean, I put a lot of data on there. Like when you click a button, is it working fast or is it retarded and torturous?
Well, it's a single page site, and it's got,
Well, go to all the songs. Yeah.
so that just scrolls us here. And yeah, I can play the music. I can't click on that, but what's the plus button? doesn't seem to do any. Oh, it added one to the cart. That's not very intuitive. Having a plus button, and then, I'm plussing and I'm adding shit into my shopping cart that I don't know the price of. I can only submit a request. So yeah, it's pretty fucking retarded. Sorry, Woody.
That's good. Well, this is what I
Geez, John, why don't you tell us how you really feel?
But okay,
Well, I
so
used Woody's words there. I was working
yeah,
on
he
my
was just
avatar.
he was reflecting back his own commentary. But the
Exactly.
point is, good noticing, John, and good feedback. So Woody, the take action is to turn the plus button into a add to cart for 99 cents or $9,000, whatever. Like if you're buying it for a movie, it just have it be the plus button, turn it into the add to the cart. Like John's helping you, and your action, Woody, John told you the first when he first looked at the site is to get something that appeals to the guy you're talking to that wants to buy whatever you're selling. So John just made an avatar for you. Ask him to send you that info to the email. Do you follow me, Woody? So the action to take
I got it.
that John's telling you is to build your above the line to your niche person. And
I
then,
know, I
and then
got it.
change your
I
website.
I just want John to scoodle around and see where it needs to be plussed. I mean, it's built, putting in all the sizzle and the steak and creating the right avatar. I got that that's got to be done. But how else is it running? How is it laid out, John? Is it,
It's a disaster.
well, that's what I want to hear.
It's a disaster. But seriously, Woody, I wouldn't spend another penny on doing anything with it until you find out, can I make money with this thing? Do I have a market? Are there people that this would actually serve and give me money from it? And if you do, you need to understand who those people are and you build it for them.
I understand all that, John. Believe me, I've been with the project a year. There are people that do this. I don't have that lined up yet, but I have a lot of titles on here, and I'm just asking you if they're playing right, if the site is built right.
The music played.
Excuse me.
The music played, but the shopping cart was non-existent. The plus buttons added to a non-existent shopping cart. So the functionality, if you're expecting people to add things to a shopping cart and make a purchase, it doesn't even come close.
I got it.
Riddle me this, Woody. When you said you already sold one of these things when you weren't trying, quote unquote, can you replicate whatever it was you did when you weren't trying and do that a lot?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Rich. These are people they're called song pluggers. And she loves the old man's work, Norman Blackman's work. So I just need to get this to those people. They're my audience. It's not for the general public.
Yeah, you
If you know
probably
one, maybe more. If you know one, I'm sure she knows more. That maybe she would be here in that market.
Yeah, but you don't need a shopping cart system for that, Woody. You just need a landing page that has your contact information to contact us to cut a deal if you want to license the stuff.
And that's what Peter Raleigh has on his page as well.
Yeah, nobody's going to add these songs to their cart to buy a licensing deal. They're going to want to talk to you.
Yeah, so that's why we don't have it. Or we do, but it looks weird. It's supposed to be, you just put your request down and then we'll get back to you with price.
Yeah. So
John,
my question
John,
there would be, and I'm going to wrap it up because this could go down a rabbit hole for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, this call wasn't about marketing. The call was about the mechanics of the site.
Okay. Yeah, there's not really much more to say about that other than that's a fail on the mechanics.
We'll
So
fix the buttons. Talk to you later.
all right. Sorry, Woody. I don't want to tell you, I don't want to blow sunshine up your skirt and lead you off a cliff. I'm
Well,
here to
my
protect.
job was to digitize the music, and I've done that.
Yeah, so that might be all you need to do. So don't try and wrap it in a shopping cart. Just put it out for what it is. Put a contact information on there for the right people to buy you or to contact you to talk about licensing.
Exactly, bro.
So
All right.
that's your fix. Simple. But as is, absolute clusterfuck.
We will tighten it up.
All right.
I have a quantum AI question.
Okay, go ahead, Delilah.
Hey, when we sell the quantum AI suite, if the person, does the person get any kind of tutorial on it, or is there anything that we need to do to, like, how would they get an
They actually
explanation of it?
will. I'm gonna do like a full webinar that goes through each tool individually, and then I'm gonna strip those up into little individual videos and put those up in the members area. So
Oh, that's
it
great.
hasn't been done yet, but that is what my plan is to do. And hopefully we'll have that, at least we'll have the video done by Black Friday or before.
Oh, that's
So,
great. What if I sell it before then? What
oh,
should I, person
just
has a
let
question?
them, yeah, just let them know that that's coming. There actually is a video already in the members area where I kind of started that process. I didn't go through every tool, and there's a bunch of new tools as well. So it doesn't cover everything 100%, but it probably covers the majority of the stuff they're going to want to use, like the video tool, the image tools, some of the act tools for marketing. So it covers a lot of that stuff.
Okay, great.
And then I don't think I showed you guys what I was talking about as far as my thank you pages, did I?
No, show us.
It was a big tease, wasn't it?
Yes, that's what you are, a big
A
tease.
big tease. All right. Well, let me see. Let me get back to the share here. All right. Let me get back over to here. All right. So this is the thank you page for Quantum. Like somebody purchases this, and this is what I added. I added the special bonus Zoom replacement. Get way more for way less. That goes to the link for the Meetin software. But this is basically my thank you page. But I thought, let's add some pizzazz to this and make it feel like a party that they just entered. So when this page first pops up, we're going to throw some confetti at them. And that was the one where I sent the email to Connie and Brady, and I go, this is clear proof I have too much time on my hands. But every time this page loads, it throws confetti at them. So they feel like they just got to a party. And again, that might be pretty cheesy, but
How'd you do the confetti?
I had nothing better to do. It's a JavaScript that in Kartra, like if I go over to Kartra and I go to that particular page, that's this page here, I'll edit it.
I don't think it's cheesy. I think it's gamifying it, like it gives everybody confirmation that you made a wise decision in a visual. I think it's great, John.
Yeah, so that was what I was hoping for. But anyway, I go into settings for the page and then into tracking codes. And then under the tracking codes tab, this is my confetti script that I just pasted into the body. And guess where I got that script?
Where?
Perplexity.
Perplexity. I went to Perplexity and I said, let me see if I can find it here. I went to Perplexity and I don't know if I saved it or not. No, that was Woody's. Oh, okay. So here's a site that I saw it on.
Ah.
So, and this is where I got the idea. So I've got this page here, and it's a congratulations page for when I signed up to see a webinar. And I'm like, that's really cool. So I went to Perplexity and I said, each time I visit or refresh this page, there's an effect of confetti exploding on the screen. I think it's really cool. How'd they do it? And Perplexity gave me a bullshit answer. And I said, can you write me the exact code to add to my site to do this? And then it got into it.
Oh, mama, that's great.
So pretty cool stuff.
Can you put that code in the chat for us, John, so we can steal it?
And then here I said, tried it and it did not do anything. I added the header script as well as the body script and no change on the page. And it said, I apologize for the inconvenience. Let's troubleshoot this. So it gave me another script that was a much simpler script. And I said, the button shows up, but no effect happens on the click. So it's like, I was just using the machine to figure it out.
John, would it have been beneficial to like give Perplexity your URL link so it could figure out the back end that, maybe your WordPress and you use Builder Beaver or whatever the heck, like give it the info? Would that have helped?
It doesn't really have the ability to do that, but it came up with the conclusion for me. It got to the end point. I just didn't let it off the hook. It doesn't have a problem with you telling it it's not working.
Mhm.
It's like
It's unoffendable.
yeah, I mean, here's something that 99 out of 100 people, if you tell them something can't be done, they put their chin down, head between their shoulders, and they're beaten. Right? What happens when you tell me I can't do something? I'm like, fuck you, I'll figure it out. And
That's right.
and I've been that way ever since I was a little kid. You're not going to tell me I can't do something because my parents told me I can do anything. Right? You just got to figure out how. Well, now I have a really good friend called Perplexity that I can brainstorm with, and he's way smarter than I am, way smarter than I'll ever be. And I don't have a problem telling him, you're a screw up. It didn't work. Try again. And he'll just endlessly work for me to make sure I get what I want. So, I mean, that's a lesson in AI of what it's for and how to use it. Don't be afraid to bully it. If no one ever told me I couldn't do something, I wouldn't be who I am now. I've constantly been proving people they were wrong. And it gives me great joy every time I do it. So,
Great.
so
Well, I'll tell you, I had a real win with Perplexity, if anybody's interested. It did Canadian tax law research for me.
oh, nice.
Turned out great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like attorneys. Gina works with a lot of attorney firms and stuff. And she had some stories about attorneys, using it to do their work. And it was like 10 times better than they could have done, but they got in trouble for it. They actually got penalized for doing it too good. So,
that's going to become a problem because I was with my grandkids a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, oh, I'm going to introduce them to AI. And we played around with it for a little while, and then my granddaughter said, well, isn't that the same that Snapchat does? And some of the kids in her school have gotten into trouble for using AI in their homework.
well,
I don't know how the teachers figure out how they do it, but they have been. I guess the D student got to be an A student all of a sudden.
No, I can tell you exactly how the teacher knew it. It's really simple. I hope this email finds you well. They didn't know how to prompt it to get quality information, so they used it just like everyone else, and they got the same thing everyone else got, and it's got a big old thumbprint on it. So it's very easy
Right.
to identify.
Perfect.
Problem with AI
Thank
is it
you.
learns from itself, so the more garbage it generates, the more garbage it references to churn out more garbage.
That's right. And the pre-prompting is 100% the game changer.
Mhm.
When you pre-prompt it and you tell it who it is and you don't accept failure and you don't accept mediocrity, that is your game changer. That's how you get good results out of AI.
How many words will Perplexity take for input?
I don't know offhand. I know I've given it a bunch. I've given it a 13, 14, 15 page prompt, and it doesn't have any problem, doesn't choke on it at all. If you get something that's like, you're trying to put in War and Peace, I don't think it's going to take that. But I think Poe will. I think Poe is more your tool of choice if you've got really big volumes of content you need churned.
Yeah, it's Gemini 2 million. It'll take 2 million characters, but it's very, very expensive to run. And when you're in Poe, they only give you so many characters per month, and you can burn through your characters pretty quick. And then you can't buy more. You have to wait till it renews or whatever. So if Perplexity will take a larger number, then it might be more worthwhile to try out than don't use the big language models unless you need to, because they suck up a lot of bandwidth that you have available to use. So, well, one last thing, John, could you put that confetti script in the chat for us so we can put it on our sites?
That particular one wouldn't necessarily work with yours because it's coded to my domains and stuff. It's coded to some scripts and things. But if you just go into Perplexity and just tell it you want to put confetti on your page, and then it'll give you the thing, put it in. If it doesn't work, just tell it, hey, that didn't work. What do we do now? And it'll just keep giving you versions till you get it to work.
So fun.
That's and I needed that because I wanted to put it on my Kartra pages. If I wanted to put it in a WordPress site, I'm pretty sure there's scripts or plugins that you can get that will do those kind of effects. But I wanted the effect on my Kartra pages, so I needed the actual code to plug in, like what you saw me do, plugged it into the headers.
Uh, you could also on Perplexity, like John's talking about, Richard and all of us, you can put in the word, "I want to gamify this page. Can you please write me code that showers confetti down?" You know what I mean? Like, it's the key word is gamify. That's what I learned recently. I'm
Yeah,
just
you
offering
can
it to everybody.
you can actually do that confetti on a click. Like you can put something like click the happy face to see what happens. And people love that shit. It's like Ali said, it's gamifying your site, making it interactive. I I tend to steer away from moving stuff. Like if you just hit a page and shit's moving and flying around, I call that a circus. But when it's something that's like either on a load like that on a congratulations page, I think that's cool. Or if you're gamifying it, like, click the smiley face for a surprise. And then, something pops up and the stuff comes flying at you, that's a different thing.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
lots of
John, to
stuff.
your point, the gamify programs that I've been looking at are always to almost like Pavlov dog train us that when we do a right action, you get the hearts or you get a shower of, you know,
Yeah.
way to go, you get some music. So it's training us. Not only do we get that hit of dopamine, but it's training people to take action on your site and then when you take the right action, you get the little woohoo, because basically we're all kids inside, and not
Well,
only are
that's
we easily entertained, but most of us are good girl, good boys, and want to know we're doing the right thing. So it's about our deeper unconscious psychology.
yeah, that's like Perry Belcher uses that for associations and badges and things like that. And, he uses the analogy of men literally will fight and die for a piece of ribbon, meaning our flag. They'll literally fight and die for that stature. And, that's how he sells the association thing. People love to be associated with something. Like, I'm totally blowing it. I should sell Dominator gear because you're all Dominators.
Yes,
You
yes.
associate as a Dominator. I bet you if I put out an offer of Dominator t-shirts, probably 90% of you would buy them.
I want a hat.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'd probably actually wear them because you're proud to be a Dominator. I mean, what would you want to be? An imitator? No, you're here because you want to be a Dominator, not an imitator. So everyone else can be an imitator, but you've got the Dominator gear. It's like
Johnny, print on demand. Do it already.
it's like a badge of honor.
Exactly. Oh, it's
So
great marketing.
many,
Great marketing logo. That Internet Dominator it's
yeah,
fabulous marketing. I mean,
yeah.
branding. Sorry.
It's funny. So, like, some people see that and they immediately think Illuminati, and they're like, "Oh God, he's evil. He's Illuminati." And I'm like, that all-seeing eye is about seeing the road ahead, seeing the future before someone else does, so you can take advantage of it. That's the meaning behind it. And I think if it's okay to go on the $100 bill, it's perfectly okay to go on my webpage. If I carry it around proudly in my wallet, I can display it on my website proudly as well. So you want to call me Illuminati? That's your thing. That's fine by me. You can call me anything you want, but I'm not poor.
Exactly.
Those would be one of the people that you would not take. Remember, John, you were telling me on our call, you only take about 1 in 10 of people that want to sign up with you. They'd be in the 9. Don't worry about
Oh
it.
yeah, definitely. They would not be attracted to me.
Well, if you want to come up with some swag before Black Friday, I think the one to do would be for quantum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I second Teresa.
Yeah.
Be careful putting a big Q on a t-shirt. You may not have the association with whom you think you are associated with.
Yeah.
Oh my. You
You're
have to
referring
be
to
so careful these days.
you're referring like to the LBQ, whatever it is.
No, it's the QAnon. It's the Trumpies. It's the people that live on Earth too, that think that Trump is going to make the world a better place rather than destroying the best economy that's ever existed in the United States, full stop. That's what just came out 2 days ago. The U.S. economy has never been better, ever in its history. So
You on that, Richard. I wouldn't
Hey,
mind
can
being
I
Q for
interrupt?
queer.
Can I interrupt the political rabbit hole and ask John? John, can you just summarize? Like, you mentioned Poe and Perplexity. Like, is Poe for great copy and Perplexities for research, and then Claude, and Gemini? Richard, and I didn't mean to cut you off and be disrespectful, but this could go into war, so I'm just diverting. Anyway, I honestly wanted to know, John, what the big AI, what they are best used for, because
Sure,
that would be great.
So let's start with Chat GPT. That's the most recognized, probably most widely used one. It's also the most generic one. It's a general purpose technology. So if you're looking for just the basic generic thing, Chat GPT is just fine. But if you want something like what I found I got 10 times better results for business uses using Perplexity. When I was, using it for writing greeting cards for the neighbors and shit like that, Chat GPT was just fine, worked perfectly. But when I started, getting into like multi-tier research and analysis and things of that nature, it just didn't do near as well as Perplexity. So I would say if you're using it for business, that's my tool of choice. I don't pay for it. I use the free version and it works just perfectly fine. I haven't found a reason yet to use the paid version of Perplexity. I'm sure there is a point. I'm not a real heavy user on it, I guess, but that's worked perfectly fine for me. And I've
Which
also used Perplexity to build all the GPT scripts for all the tools in Quantum.
Hmm.
So I actually have a script that builds me, it took me a long time to get it right, but it builds me the tools in Quantum. I can literally give it a topic and it'll build me a tool in like 3 seconds. So that's how I can do that so fast. Somebody will say, "Hey, could you build a tool for this?" I'm like, "Yeah, just give me about 10 minutes." And I can whip a tool in there for you. And that was the other ones are much larger language models like Poe and all of those. If you're doing books and you're doing large data mining, large data, you know, that would be more along the lines of those. And
for phone script,
there's a million tools out there. What each one is exactly meant for and all that, I'm not really sure, but just from a generic perspective, that would be what I would tell you.
would this be for film scripts as well?
What's that?
Would it also apply to film scripts?
Oh
Poe?
yeah. Yeah. I
Mm.
think you could probably do film scripts with Perplexity. But
Mm.
yeah, if you were doing like in depth, like hour-long scripts and stuff like that, or even beyond, yeah, I would say you would probably want to go to the large language model. And
What about this though? Suppose you have all the characters, you already have dialogue, but you just wanted to be put in a successful story structure, one that makes sense, and
uh
it's more like the story structure you're working on. Would
yeah,
that be
if
something perplexity?
that might be beyond Perplexity. That
Mhm.
might be like if you've got a bunch of data, like let's say you've got all your characters, you've got all your scripts, you've got, a lot of the scripts and the language for what you're going to do. You could load all that up into a large language model like Poe
Mhm.
and say, could you format this, make sure it's in the right order, and make a you know, fully flushed script out of this
Oh, I like that.
and have
Let's
it just,
forward to it.
one shot and out it comes. And
Got it.
it's ready to pass on to the Screen Actors Guild.
You'd want to prompt Poe though to be an excellent
Yeah,
award-winning writer, somebody who's successful at writing, right?
absolutely, absolutely. That's the pre-prompting. And that goes without saying, really, at this point, for anything you do, no matter what AI you're using or what you're trying to get out of it, you really need to pre-prompt it. Otherwise, you're going to get mediocre results. There's no way around it. You don't want the same stuff everyone else gets. If you're going to do that, you might as well just do it yourself. If you want something better than your capabilities, then prompt it, pre-prompt it, train it, tell it what you need, tell it who it is, all of that. You can even tell it, I don't want this to look like anyone else's script. I want my own unique thumbprint on this thing.
I like that.
Give it my personality, not theirs.
Hmm.
Or if you want to knock off, you can say, you can just name off some big famous script writer and, say, follow the path of this.
Hmm.
Use their style, emulate all of their blueprint behind their writing, all of that. So you could do that, output it, look at it, and then say, now take it and put it in my voice. Take all that structure, but put my unique tone and voice into it.
Hmm.
So that might be a really, really good way to go.
I love that. Thanks.
So but really, it's all about the interaction with the machine. The better you get at talking to the machine and the more comfortable you get with it, the better your stuff is going to come out. And when I say comfortable, you got to get comfortable with being rude. Yeah, and it's tough for some people. I'm not usually like that. Like I'm warming up to it, as you guys are seeing. But it's normally I'm, very gentle, in most cases. But you can't do that. You cannot do that and expect perfection out of AI.
Oh, when you say rude, like, can you give examples of commands that you give it? Like I know you said you can do it better than that, or
Well,
I've
one of the ones I use is I thought you were better than that.
does that work very well?
Hmm. Yeah. When
Hmm.
when I tell it who it is, and then I remind it, you're supposed to be so and so. I really thought you were better than that. Is this just an off day for you, or are you really not as good as I thought you were? And
Ah,
that, I mean, that just up levels its game. It
you
really
actually ask it if it's an
does.
off day for it?
Yeah. Just,
Interesting.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, just badger the shit out of it. Don't be afraid. Don't, don't treat it like a person and you're afraid you're going to hurt their feelings.
Ah, okay.
Your job is to hurt its feelings to get the best out of it.
The
It's
early,
just like when I was a kid and somebody told me, "Yeah, you can't do that. You're not good enough for that." I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Wait. I'll show you. I'll bury you."
That's how I've been too my whole life. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
hear you.
don't be afraid to treat it that way. Think of
Hmm.
it as that little kid that if you tell it negative, it's going to work 10 times harder to prove you wrong.
Wow, that's
Make
in
it
so.
the
prove you wrong.
in the early days of Gemini and Copilot, I told them they were stupid right out. I mean, I just hammered them with a sledgehammer, and then, oh, we're sorry for the inconvenience. Inconvenience doesn't answer my question. Bye.
Yeah. But
Now
That's
they got
pie
better.
lets it off the hook. You don't want to let it off the hook. Make it work for you.
That's I went back to my old stuff, but the bottom line was it was a good play. And then this has
Yeah.
been months now since I got into Copilot.
Yeah. Yeah. But really, make it work for you. And if it doesn't, beat it up. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to
Thank you,
beat it up.
John. That's awesome. Do
At
you know what
first,
Claude, John, do you know what Claude or Gemini is used for? Because I've heard you and
I've
a few other people say the top 4 or 5 AI they use, and they never say what they are. So that's why I asked you, just
yeah,
because.
Claude is the large language model uh behind Poe, I think.
Oh,
And again, I haven't really done much with the large language model stuff. So I'm
mm-hmm.
not real familiar, like giving you the nuances of, what they're good at
Yeah.
or what they're better at. But I know that when you get into those are larger language models, so they'll take more info and
Mm-hmm.
they'll output more. Like
Okay.
if you're using it as a generative AI to create content and you want a book that's 500 pages long, that's not Perplexity or Chat GPT. That's large language models. So that's when you need to go up the ladder to Claude or Poe or Gemini or one of those. You might pay more for it too because it's doing a lot more work for you, but
Right.
that's probably well worth it.
And do you have any like just umbrella about Gemini? I could. I'll probably get off the phone and actually go into an AI program and say, "Hey, what do all these programs do?" But I
Yeah,
just thought I'd ask in
yeah,
case you didn't know.
go to Perplexity.
Yeah.
Um, I've got a link if you want to try them all out. I've got a link somewhere that has that program where you can get all of them for $20 a month.
Yeah, playground, right, John?
Playground. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it. But yeah, if you go to that playground site, you can get access to all of them for $20 a month.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
Poe,
that's what
only,
I
John,
sorry,
Poe,
go ahead.
Poe is the same way, John. because I was using Chat GPT because it was what was available. Claude came out and it would take like almost 2,000 words. So I went to that. And then Gemini came out and Gemini went to a million point five, and then 2 million. And Poe has, I have not seen a platform that Poe doesn't have on it. That's the whole thing about Poe. It's a menu of everything that's available, and it tells you what each of them is for, and you can play with them. And Poe's $20 a month. And I looked at Playground. Playground doesn't have as many, at least when I looked a couple months ago. Playground didn't have as many as Poe did, and even though they're the same one. But I think
Okay.
that the Chat GPT 4 lowercase 0, it's not 4.0, it's 4 with a lowercase 0. That's the fastest, cheapest current one out of Chat GPT, and that's the one that's used for the voice AI that I'm using.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so you could go into Perplexity and have it do a whole dissertation on all the different AIs and you know what the pros and cons of each one, and you probably get a good education that way. But for me, you know, I don't care as long as the thing's doing what I need it to do. I'm fine. I don't need to do a bunch of extra work to know everything. I need to know as little as possible to get what I need. I'm not going to overwork or overthink anything. That's why, you know, call me lazy, call me whatever, but I'm efficient. So once I find something that's going to work and do what I need to do, I rarely look beyond that. I leverage it, take advantage of it, and just, you know, use it till it buries itself into the ground, and then I move on. And that's where I'm at with Perplexity. Perplexity has been phenomenal. I haven't even had to pay for it yet. I don't know that I ever will, you know, with the way that I'm using it.
Thank you so much.
But again, don't be afraid. If any of you are using any kind of AI, don't be afraid to make it work for you. Don't be afraid to, you know, beat it up and, you know, be rude. You're not going to hurt its feelings. You're just going to make it do better. You know, it's a whole different world. Learning to talk to the machine is going to be the art of the future. And don't think that AI is going to take anybody's job. You know, it's AI is going to allow other people to take your job. You want to be the one that keeps the job or gets the job. And if that's the case, you better learn to get cozy with the thought of AI. You know, if you're ignoring it or you're saying I don't need that, or that's a passing fad, or you know, I'm just too bullish to admit that this is taking over or going to be part of the future, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt bad. As fast as this is moving, you need to keep up with it, or at least grab a hold and get drug along with it. Kicking and screaming if necessary, but you need to be on this ride. If you're not on this ride, there's going to be a very poor future for a lot of people in the very near future.
Be the captain of the ship or grab onto a life preserver, but stay on the boat. Be direct.
It's going to be a very ugly ride. There's so much opportunity, though. There's so much stuff that most people are not going to do. The ones that are willing to do things differently are the ones that are going to be rewarded. And that's the way it's been since the beginning of time. You know, it's like there's famous sayings by very, very prominent people out there. You know, Tony Robbins is one. He says, if you want something different, you have to do something different to get it. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result. You know, if you're making X amount, you keep on doing what you're doing, you're probably going to keep on making X amount, even though the world gets more expensive. So you're just going to get poorer. That's all that's going to happen. If you don't take advantage of the things that are coming our way, you're going to get leveraged to the bottom of the pile. very, very quickly. So you've got to be willing to change. You've got to be willing to do something different. You've got to be willing to do things other people won't do to have things they'll never have. That's been going on since the beginning of time. Look at the people look at somebody that you want to be and ask yourself, did they do something I wasn't willing to do or that I haven't done? The answer is going to be yes, absolutely, 100% of the time. And they got what you want because they did something differently. And that's called modeling. All you have to do is figure out, what did they do? How did they get that? And if you're willing to do it, then you can have it. That's really it in a nutshell. If you want a better life, look at whoever's got the life you want and figure out, what did they do? How did they get that? And then just do it, model it. Then you'll have it. But there's so many people that they have a bigger list of things they won't do than things they will. And that usually just keeps them in the same bucket they've always been in, and they'll never get out of it. They're not willing to just change that mindset and do something a little bit differently. I mean, my God, the place we are in history right now, there's never been more opportunity than is wrapped around you right now. I mean, look at what I just did with ChatGPT. I did things way beyond my skill and capability in seconds. I mean, I didn't have that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, if I wanted to have code on my site, I needed to either figure it out or go pay somebody a lot of money to do it. And it didn't happen in 30 seconds. Today, I just showed you I can do something that I don't know how to do in 30 seconds without anybody's help. You are at a point in history right now that is incredible. And think about all the people that won't do those things. But what will they do? They'll pay you to do them for them. And that's how AI is not going to take their job, but you are, because you're using it. Like a writer, think about this. A copywriter on Fiverr that is doing copy for sales copy. You know how long it takes them to do that? When I can step in now and do it in 30 seconds, do it better, faster, cheaper. How do you think they're going to fare against me if I start offering copywriting on Fiverr for 1/10 of their price? First off, they couldn't do that and still feed themselves, so they're screwed. And nobody's going to go for them when there's a better option. Again, checkmate. I just took them off the playing field. I just eliminated a competitor because they weren't willing to do what I'm doing. They think they know better. They think AI is evil. I won't use AI because it's evil, right? Evil is not being able to feed your family. That's evil. And that's what you choose by choosing that. So, you might need to redefine what you think is evil. That could be just a mind shift. Like what I talked about earlier, the scarcity mindset doesn't do you well. Neither does the fear mindset. And that's all that is. Somebody that says, AI is evil, that's just fear. That's fear of the unknown. Nothing more, nothing less. I've come across people in my life that say money is the root of all evil. And I'm like, yeah, you just don't know where to shop. If you think money is the root of all evil, it's clear to me you don't have any. So, I mean, is that evil, being able to afford to take your family on vacation? That's due to money. Is that the root of all evil? You might think it's evil if you don't have enough money to feed your family. You might think the people that do are evil, but they're not. They just did something you weren't willing to do. They made a better life. They made that money by doing something you didn't do. That's it. It's pure and simple. So I don't know how that relates to marketing, but it relates to reality, certainly.
Well, John, it
John,
does relate because in the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill addresses that very question. The love of money, which is like total 100% greed, is the evil, not money itself,
Yeah.
because of the thing is that the Bible has really is money is prosperity. Prosperity gives makes a better life. Better life is good for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all in the perspective. It's all in how you look at it. So, all
John, can I
right.
make a little left turn quickly here on your thank you pages?
Yeah, sure.
I have a question about thank you page. I've had somebody talk, and I've seen, and what they do is they it's called a thank you page, but they refer to it as their shock and awe page, where when you go to that page, it confirms that thank you and all that sort of stuff. It usually has a video on it, but then there is probably 2 days worth of reading about what you just bought or what the company, it's a brag page for the company that tells you all about the great things and how wonderful it is. The thought being that if they just bought something, they might go, wait a minute, did I really buy the right thing? And go start Googling what it is that they just bought and see if there's a cheap, maybe, to avoid instant buyer's remorse. They have a whole lot of stuff on the page for the people to read until they get tired of reading about you and go someplace else. And then they put some, if you want to offer something down at the bottom of the page, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I can see the
I wouldn't do that myself personally. The thank you page, and Perry Belcher taught me this lesson. He said, when somebody buys something from you, they're never hotter to buy more than that given moment in time. So the thank you page is a great place to have an upsell, not a bunch of things in the way of making another purchase. Give them other things right there. And then follow up with a sequence. You should have a sequence in place that's a consumption sequence or a product delivery, whatever you want to call it. That should be the thing that makes them feel good about their purchase and all that, but that's separate from the thank you page itself. The thank you page is like they're in motion. They've got their credit card out. They just gave you money. Give them an opportunity to give you a little bit more. So provide massive value with the next offer. And, some people are really good at this. They'll give the second offer, and then you'll get the thank you page for that. And then you'll get the third offer, and then you'll get the thank you page for that. And it just goes on and on and on. I buy a lot of software to test it and just, see what's all out there. And the ones when I see the software that's too good to be true for $9, I know I'm going to be in for 45 minutes of thank you pages, getting me up to 500 or 600 bucks. I just know it going in, and I love that. This is the little trick that I'll do. When I get the first thank you page, at the bottom of the thank you page, there's a no thanks button. I will right click on the no thanks link and open that in a new window. That way it keeps that window open if I want to come back and take that offer, but I get to see what's behind the curtain. And 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, I guess it was the money. Here's a lower dollar amount for the same thing. And I'll have like 17 freaking windows open by the time I go through all the no thanks links. But I right click, open in a new window, and now I can see their whole funnel. And I didn't have to buy anything other than the $9 thing on the front end. Then I can make a decision of, oh, well, do I really want all of this crap? But if I buy them one at a time, I'll like, oh yeah, that's great. That's a good add-on. Next thing I know, I'm up to $400 or $500, and I'm like, this is a bunch of crap. I didn't need this, and I'm not one to go refund stuff. So I just open all the windows get a look at, okay, here's the whole animal. Do I want to eat this animal or not? And usually it's a no, but it's a really good learning exercise to look at how they're doing it. So little craft trick for you guys when you buy your next thing, do that.
I like that, John. That makes perfect sense. The question I would then have is that, how do I say this? What you're just saying, I've seen that too. And the $9 software, you're I've gone as far as 14 upsells, and one of them I wanted to just see what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
But that is before the thank you page. And what I hear you saying is that actually they make a purchase and they're on the thank you page. They think they're done, but then there's another offer. That's a different thing than, wait, before we finish your checkout, and you go through 9 things before you can actually check out. I like the idea of them actually checking out. They're still hot, but they think they're done here, and they aren't constantly being eaten by piranha, where you're getting a little nibble over here, but you can't just go to the checkout page because they keep putting things between you and the checkout page. I think going after the thank you page makes more.
Yeah,
That's
no,
I like that.
What you're describing is a template that got sold into the internet marketing space that didn't necessarily really work, but it sold a lot of units and a lot of people use it. The honest truth is that will kill more sales than it will get, because somebody wants to buy something. They don't want to go through a bunch of hurdles. If they actually make a purchase, you'll be shocked at how many hurdles they'll go through to continue through and buy everything they can. But if you prevent them from that first hit of dopamine, that's what makes them buy the second one. People love to buy stuff, and they get a little bit of a high from it. They call it a dopamine hit to their brain. And when do they want another one? Next week? No, they want it now. That one just wore off. I want another hit of that. I want to feel good. I want to think I'm doing good for myself. So they'll buy and buy and buy and buy. But if you put that hit of dopamine off so far in the future that they get frustrated, you're liable to kill the sale. I would not do that. Personally, I think that's a disaster. I think that's like Woody's page. So, but all right. If there's nothing else, I'm going to
Thank you, John.
wrap it up. All right. Thank you, Janie, for being here as always.
Thank you, John. It was awesome.
Thank you, John. This was my first time here. I just signed up, so I
cool.
appreciate it.
Welcome aboard. Hopefully we didn't offend you or anything.
No.
Sometimes it's gentle and mild, and sometimes
your little hint on how to go through those buying levels was worth the 2 hours in itself.
Well, cool. Awesome. Well,
Thank
keep
you.
on coming back. I got a lot more for you.
Sounds good. Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
John, did you see my message?
I did not, but I will look at it here.
Because Sue recommended.
Oh, Sue Brooke?
Yeah. And then I signed up, and then I got all this information, and I was trying to download some of this stuff in the group.
Oh, okay. Did you buy on Alignable?
Yes.
Okay. So
but I think I also ordered something else from the website.
Okay. In Alignable, there's a section on the right where you can actually download the whole ACT program. And that's kind of the basis for all the marketing that I teach, is that ACT program. And
okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and then we do the weekly calls. So this is the place like to come and ask your questions and get all the help and support that you need along the way.
Right, because see, so on the right-hand side, like where do you download the videos? Because like they're not clickable.
I think it's called resources, and then I just changed it recently because in Alignable, they would only allow me so many characters and we ran out of space with all the videos. So
Mhm.
I changed the format to put them into a Google Sheet. So request the Google Sheet, and then the Google Sheet will have all the stuff that you need on there.
So the ACT program is your marketing program.
That's all the videos and all the materials for the ACT marketing protocol.
It's great, Glow. You'll have a good time doing the research.
Well, but where's this? Click here to access all. Okay. Oh, I think oh, got you now. Okay.
So
Because
there's
when I joined, it wasn't coming. Okay. All right. I'll
a-
start there then. I think I booked the call with you too. Okay.
Okay,
Can I
cool.
get the recording from today?
Yes. Yep. Everything is all recorded, and there's an archive with all the calls.
Oh, it's going to be in the group, this call?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Thanks. All right.
All right. We
Okay.
will talk to you all next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.